We hear it all the time, right? That love is something you just find, that it's destiny. But what if that's totally wrong? Today, we're going to tear that idea down and look at what really makes love last, the actual architecture of it. Okay, so let me just ask you straight up. Do you believe in soulmates? You know, the whole idea that there's one perfect person out there, basically made just for you. Seriously, take a second. What's your gut answer?
Well, if you answered yes, you were definitely not alone. A Marist poll found that a whopping 73% of us believe in soulmates. It's this incredibly powerful, romantic idea, isn't it? But, and this is a big but, what if it's actually hurting our relationships?
And that brings us right to our first section, the soulmate myth. We're going to dive into what happens when this fantasy crashes into reality and, well, the pretty surprising problems that can pop up because of it.
I mean, think about it. Ever since we were kids, we've been sold this one very specific story. You've got your Disney movies, your pop songs, all those romantic comedies. They all push this idea of destiny, of love at first sight. And the research totally backs this up. The more of this stuff we watch, the more we start to believe it's real.
And hey, it's a beautiful story. I get it. But what happens when we try to use that fairy tale script in the real world? You know, the one that's messy and complicated and, yeah, wonderful, but definitely not a movie. Which leads us right into our next section, when destiny gets dysfunctional. Because it turns out this super romantic idea can have some seriously negative side effects. So you've really got two different ways of thinking here. On one side, you have the destiny belief. This is where you assume you're a perfect match, which leads to that classic expectation of mind reading. If you really loved me, you'd just know what I want, right? Then there's the free will belief. This is all about choosing to build a match, communicating what you need, and seeing problems not as a bad sign, but as a chance to actually grow together. And this isn't just theory. The research shows this has real, painful consequences. People who believe in destiny, they have a much harder time forgiving their partner after a fight. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you think your partner should have known what you were thinking, then their mistake feels like a huge betrayal. So fights get bigger. And when things get tough, it's way easier to just disappear, to ghost them. Because, hey, if they weren't the one anyway, why bother? You know, this whole soulmate idea is a classic example of something psychologists call the arrival fallacy. It's this super dangerous belief that once you get something, in this case, the one, you'll finally arrive at a place of permanent happiness. But life just doesn't work that way. It's not a destination. And thinking like this is basically a recipe for being disappointed a lot. But here's the really ironic part. The people who are literally selling us this fantasy, you know, this story of effortless, destined love, well, let's just say their own lives tell a very, very different story. Get this, A-list Hollywood stars, they have a 52% divorce rate within the first 16 years of marriage. That is way higher than for the rest of us. The very people creating the fantasy can't make it work in their own lives. So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear we need a new playbook. And that brings us to our next big idea. Love is a choice. This is all about a total reframe. It's about seeing love not as something that happens to you, but as something you actively choose every single day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds less romantic. But check this out. The data shows something amazing. Researchers found that when people believe in free will, when they feel like they are choosing their partner and taking responsibility for the relationship, their feelings of passionate love actually go up. Taking ownership isn't boring. It's incredibly passionate. Okay, so that all sounds great, but how do we actually do it? That's what our next section is all about, building your blueprint. This is the practical how-to part. It's a simple 3-step plan. Step 1, be a realist. Start treating romantic comedies like they're science fiction. They're fun to watch, for sure, but they are not a manual for your life. Step 2, be a friend. The absolute best, most lasting romances are built on a rock-solid friendship. So stop asking if the passion is high and start asking, is our friendship getting deeper? And finally, step 3, be direct. Straight up ask potential partners what they think about destiny and soulmates right from the start. Trust me, it can save you from a world of, you should have read my mind pain later. And all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important idea today, the adventure of love. It's about shifting your perspective completely, seeing love not as a destination, but as a journey. So here's the big takeaway. Real, lasting love, it's not some magic switch that fate just flips for you one day.
No, it's more like a dial that you have to consciously turn up over and over again with commitment, with effort, and with the simple choice to keep showing up for each other every single day. And this isn't some new age idea. We're talking centuries here. Shakespeare himself wrote that true love bears it out even to the edge of doom. He knew that hard times weren't a sign that you picked the wrong person. He knew they were part of the journey, the very things that let you build something even stronger together. So maybe the most romantic idea of all isn't that love is a destiny you stumble into. Maybe it's that love is an incredible adventure that you get to build, brick by brick, with the person you choose. And that means the real question isn't, who am I going to find? The real question is, what are we going to build?